On the surface, she and I looked like the perfect couple. We smiled in photographs, posted vacation pictures online, and gave the illusion of harmony. People would often say, "You two are meant for each other," and I would just smile, half believing it myself. But behind closed doors, the cracks were beginning to show. She thrived on attention. At every party, she made sure all eyes were on her. It wasn't enough to be present. She needed to be adored, complimented, and admired. I became the quiet shadow at her side, the silent supporter who clapped when she performed her little acts of charm. At first, I thought it was harmless. After all, some people simply love being in the spotlight. But slowly, I began to notice the way she used me as a prop in her show. If she wanted to appear funny, she made jokes at my expense. If she wanted to look confident, she belittled me in subtle ways. Her friends laughed, and I pretended not to mind. Deep down, though, each jab left a mark. Each time she rolled her eyes at me in public or sighed dramatically when I spoke, I felt myself shrinking. Still, I convinced myself that it was normal, that maybe I was overthinking. The turning point came when she began to look at me with disdain, not affection. The warmth in her eyes was gone, replaced by calculation. She wanted to be admired not just by strangers, but by me, as if I should constantly remind her she was extraordinary. When I failed to do so, she grew colder. Yet, despite the warning signs, I stayed. I told myself she was just stressed, or that relationships went through phases. What I didn't know was that she was already planning something, a spectacle designed to feed her need for drama and attention. And I was about to become her unwilling co-star. The invitation came casually. She told me her friends were gathering at a cafe downtown, a place with an open mic stage where people often performed music or comedy. "It'll be fun," she said, brushing it off as just another social night. I didn't suspect anything. I thought it was a chance to spend time together, maybe ease the growing tension between us. But when we arrived, I noticed how unusually excited she seemed. She flitted from table to table, whispering to friends, glancing at me with a smile that felt more like a smirk. The cafe was buzzing with energy. Lights were dim, laughter filled the air, and the small stage at the front was set for performances. I took a seat near the middle, trying to blend in, while she stayed near the spotlight. As the night went on, I began to feel like an outsider. Her friends whispered behind their hands, sneaking glances at me, then giggling. I shifted uncomfortably, wondering if I had something on my shirt or if I was imagining things. Then she took the stage. The crowd clapped, eager for whatever performance she was about to give. I thought she might sing or tell a funny story. Instead, she cleared her throat dramatically and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, I have an announcement." My heart skipped. An announcement? She hadn't mentioned this. She grinned at the audience and continued, "I've decided tonight is the perfect time to break up with someone who's been holding me back." Laughter rippled through the room. My stomach dropped. She was looking directly at me. I froze in my seat as the words sank in. Breakup? In front of all these people? My eyes darted around the room, catching the eager faces of her friends, the strangers leaning forward with amusement. She went on, pacing the stage as if she were delivering a stand-up routine. "You know what it's like to be stuck with someone who just doesn't get you?" she asked the crowd, gesturing toward me. "Always quiet, always boring, never the life of the party." The audience roared with laughter. Every laugh felt like a dagger. My face burned, but I stayed still. "I mean, honestly," she continued, "I deserve someone exciting, someone who can keep up with me." "Not," she trailed off, letting the crowd fill the silence with chuckles and knowing glances in my direction. I wanted to disappear. My fists clenched under the table, nails digging into my palms. My heart raced, yet I kept my breathing steady. She wanted me to react, to yell, to storm out, to create more drama. But I refused. Inside, memories flickered, the times I supported her dreams, the nights I stayed up listening to her worries, the countless sacrifices I made to keep her happy. And here she was, turning me into a joke for her audience. When the laughter peaked, she looked directly at me, smirking. "So, what do you think, huh? Ready to let me go?" The crowd leaned in, waiting for my humiliation to be complete. I rose slowly, my chair scraping softly against the floor. The room quieted a little, expecting me to lash out or crumble. My pulse thundered in my ears, but I forced my face into calm composure. I met her gaze, steady and unflinching. Then, in a voice clear enough for everyone to hear, I said, "Thank you. Now they can all see who you truly are." The silence that followed was deafening. The laughter evaporated instantly, replaced by uneasy shifting and awkward coughs. Her smirk faltered, her eyes darting nervously around the room. She opened her mouth as if to say something, but no words came out. My words hung in the air, simple but undeniable. It wasn't anger, it wasn't a dramatic speech, just truth. And the truth had landed harder than any insult could. The crowd's eyes turned from me to her. Whispers began to ripple through the room. A few people who had laughed the loudest now looked ashamed, glancing down at their drinks. She stammered, trying to regain control. "I was just joking. It was supposed to be funny, but no one was laughing anymore." I straightened my shoulders and gave a small, polite smile. Then, without another word, I walked toward the exit. Each step felt lighter, freer, as though I was shedding the weight of her cruelty with every stride. Behind me, the silence stretched. The night air hit my face as I stepped outside, cool and refreshing after the stifling heat of humiliation inside. For the first time in months, maybe years, I felt a strange sense of relief. She had tried to break me, to reduce me to a punchline in her twisted show. But in the end, she had exposed herself. Her hunger for attention, her cruelty, her arrogance, it was all on display now. Not mine. As I walked down the quiet street, I replayed the moment in my mind. The way the room fell silent, the way her confidence crumbled, the way people turned on her. For once, I hadn't been the one shrinking in the shadows. I had stood tall, even with just a few words. In the days that followed, words spread quickly. Friends who had once idolized her began to distance themselves. Some even reached out to me, apologizing for laughing. Her reputation was no longer glamorous, it was tarnished. And me? I discovered strength I didn't know I had. I learned that true power doesn't come from shouting louder than others or fighting fire with fire. Sometimes, the calmest voice carries the most weight. She staged a breakup to humiliate me. But my calm reply turned her laughter into silence, and that silence was louder than anything she had ever said.